Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the hardcore world, and today we're going to be working on filling up the space you see right behind me here, right between our crop fields and our flower fields. This space is going to become a horse track. I think Mueller and our other horses over yonder at the ranch are going to very much enjoy this additional horse track into the valley. Oh, gotta sleep. So some of you might think that a horse track right here might be kind of random, and I understand, but I think it actually really fits in theme of our whole valley here because we have a lot of agriculture going on. We also have a lot of farm animals over here. We have some sheep, we have some cows right back there, and we have our horse pen, and we also have our sniffer over there, barce hole. Yeah, stream named that one. We also have the apple orchard over there. We also have some orange trees right behind this big tree. And also, yeah, the big tree right here. I think that's a really good sign of there being a lot of life in this whole valley here. So I feel like right here for some recreational kind of sports, it kind of makes some sort of sense here. Mueller, get out of my face. Now, this horse derby track here could actually have a lot of function for us too. We could set up some like jumping posts to detect how high our horses can jump. And then we can also set up the track. We can set up some redstone, and we can set up some sort of timer with that. And we can run around the track, and we can get like a somewhat accurate timing for our horses. And we can all get that information in the vanilla game instead of using third-party mods like how I have here. I can see exactly how fast Mueller is here. He's 10.5 meters per second, and then he can jump 3.2 meters. But it's kind of lame doing that, you know? So it might be more fun to use a horse track for that. All right, hold on. I saw a wandering villager here. Hello, what do you got for me? Absolutely nothing. Hey, don't hurt Mueller like that. Never again. So the idea for this horse track was actually suggested by one of you commenters. That's right. Credit to Dimitriel Genzov 659. He said, I feel like the first empty space you showed behind the new potato field could be really cool for like a little horse stable / training track if it fits. Would work with the vibe of the farms and the ranches around the place. 100% agree. Alright, but this empty field behind us is not going to get itself started, so let's get cracking on a little bit of terraforming, kind of flatten out some of this area here, and maybe we get installing on the paths and then the horse track itself. So I wanted to make sure that the track was going to be on flat ground so it's very even for all variations of horses to run around the track and also to make it very easy for myself. Then I ended up digging out a lot of the paths using our classic, you know, coarse dirt, mud bricks, mushroom block, granite kind of style that we've been doing around the whole valley area. And then I installed the whole oval track, and I ended up doing a little bit of a darker palette for this one too. I thought it made more sense too because, like, you know, the horses might be kicking up a lot more of that deeper dirt that's in the ground. So I went with a brown concrete, brown wool, and a little bit of stripped spruce logs in there just for a little bit of variation. All right, the path and the track are fully installed and they're looking pretty good. We have a really nice circular kind of oval shape going on here with a really nice curve. This is actually pretty easy to design if you're trying to make a similar shape yourself. I just made a circle on both sides and made a straight line connecting them, and then I cut off the other end of the circle like on the inner part. Then I thought it'd be really nice to connect up our paths here, and originally I was wanting to go kind of down, connect up to this path, and maybe make another path over here, kind of working its way up this little hill right here. But instead, I thought it'd be a little bit cooler maybe to cut across over here, and then we can have little gaps in the fence where, you know, passerbyers can kind of walk through here when there's no any races or any horses on the track or anything. It connects up right over here. Very nice. So now what we need to do is install a little fence going around the whole track here. I think it'll just make it feel a little bit more established. And then maybe afterwards, we can add in a nice little like garden in the middle area of the track here. I think that could be really nice. So in one of these shulkers here, I brought over a bunch of fences. And I think we're going to do this for the outline here. All right, so what I'm kind of thinking is we do a fence, and then in between each post, we can do some chains, maybe like this, and we can do every 3 blocks. So does this kind of work right here? I don't know. Let's see. And then on top, we can place a trap door, and then in between, we do pressure plates. And I think this creates a nice little fence line. We use the chains kind of as our intermediary. Originally, I wanted to do signs for this, but I feel like the signs were just a little too much. And this kind of creates a nice little like classic white picket fence kind of style to this area. And I think I want to face all the trapdoors the same direction just to not make them too distracting. I think it's pretty good. And then we can do some on the outside as well start one right here in the middle as well. And then we go like this maybe, and then fence here, or maybe fence there. Okay, yeah, I'm liking how this is gonna turn out. Let's keep working on getting the whole fence wrapped around, and we'll do it on the inside as well. Maybe we do the inside fence first, and then we can kind of get a better idea of how this looks on a bigger scale. All right, we got the inside fence line here, and I'm very happy with how this looks here. So we got to continue it on the outside now. And look at that thing. It is just perfect as a fence line around this area. I like it a lot, actually. I think it is pretty subtle. It's not too crazy. It does stand out definitely from the rest of the kind of fencing that we have in this area. We use a lot of bushes as our fencing, especially in particularly this spot here. We have the oak leaves all around the flower field here, and we have birch leaves all around the crop fields here. So I think a nice little like wooden fencing maybe makes a bit more sense for animals. Kind of similar, I guess, to what we did with the farmlands over there. All right, so right in this spot here, I really want to make a nice little flower bed, and I want it to feel nice and full, kind of similar to what we do with the flower fields over here, but we're going to do a different method of it that works in all versions of Minecraft, and it's about using the coral blocks. I need to mind that really quickly, though. So the coral blocks kind of take up a lot more space than a singular flower does, so we can use it to kind of create more of a flower bed effect than you can with normal flowers. So in the middle here, we're going to carve up some space that we can put some warped slabs, and then we're going to waterlog them, and then on top of those guys, we can place the coral and the coral fan. And we're using brain coral because we're going to go pink. All right, so we're going to place the brain coral on the inside lane on this. And then on the outside layer of the warped wood here, we're going to do the fans, and they kind of create a nice layered effect here. I think this is already looking really freaking good. And what I just remembered actually is that there's the cactus flower. Thank goodness I have some of these. We can place these guys in the middle to kind of add a little bit of variation and color to it all. And they can be placed on anything. I like that a lot. Oh my goodness. And to kind of finish off our little gradient, if you will, we're going to use pink petals. And I think we'll just kind of do a full amount on the edges right here. All right, now let's add some azalea bushes surrounding this whole thing. Kind of added in a little bit of like hedges, trimmed hedges, if you will, to all around this. And I think it'll make a really nice kind of garden bed feel to this whole area. Okay, those freaking flower beds really just elevated this whole area here. That looks so good. And also what I love about it is when you're on the track, you can kind of peek over a little bit and you can kind of see it through the bushes as well. You can see the really nice and bright and pink, and full pink is probably more accurate. I really like this. All right, now we're able to test the speed of our horses, but now we need to be able to test the jump of our horses. And I think right over in this little empty spot right before the river, we can make some sort of walls that can be kind of height determiners for the horses. And I think we'll do a nice easy like 1.5, 2.5 block, and then 3.5 block jumping course thing. It won't be anything too crazy. I think it'll just be kind of some walls, maybe with some slabs. That could be pretty cool. Let's get working on that. All right, our jumping test is complete, and I think it's very nice and very simple. And oops, I left a little mess on the ground here with a bunch of grass blocks. Boop. Bye-bye. But now we can officially test the jump height of Mueller. So if we go right here and we hold space, and then we can see, okay, Mueller can make the 1 jump. Can he make the 2.5 jump? Easy. Can he make the 3.5 jump? Wow, okay, Mueller, you're impressive. Good horsey. Or good mule, Mueller. Good Mueller. All right, I think there's one last thing that we're kind of missing in this area, and I think a nice little stand could go really, really nice right here. And I want to do a red palette. As you can see, I've gathered a handful of these red blocks, a little bit of netherrack, a little bit of red terracotta, and some logs I think could go pretty nice with this build. Let's hitch up Mueller, I guess right here on the track. That could do. So I guess we can just start with the outline of the stands here. I'm just going to do a nice little diagonal 45 degrees. It's a little bit of a challenge, but I think it should be fine for us. All right, we got our outline all set up here, and now we need to go in and add a little bit of texture with some of these blocks right here. And I think we'll kind of do some darker towards the bottom, and then towards the top we can do a little bit lighter. I think that's pretty atypical of me. Now we gotta add in the actual stands here, and I think we're just gonna do a nice and easy kind of checkerboard pattern with the crimson and the warp slabs, just because I feel like the typical bleachers, they're always like kind of blue and red, but I don't want to do red again because our whole thing is made of red, so crimson's a nice little off color there. And then right in the middle, we gotta have a little bit of a walkway for everyone to be able to get to their seats without, you know, like walking over people. So maybe we just do a bit of stone slabs in the middle, and then I'll kind of connect everything up. Oh yes, very clean. Now let's go ahead and add in a little bit of an overhang to this whole thing, so it feels like, you know, when the people are sitting here, they're not just being blasted by the sun, and they could actually have a little bit of a shade cover for them. And one last little detail that you know we gotta add in some banners over here. And I think this will fit all the letters. And we're gonna put Derby on the sign here. I don't know why the word Derby is coming to me, and I don't really know if it is accurate for this, but... And look at that, I think the text there really helps kind of to sell this area a little bit more. I'm not sure what a derby actually is, but I feel like it's appropriate for this. Maybe I should Google it. Okay, apparently it's just a type of horse race, so I think it's still somewhat appropriate. All right, and I will say this horse track is feeling pretty complete, but I feel like over here on this right side, we could add in a few trees kind of bordering the flower fields here to add just a little bit more of a separation between these two areas, just because it is very, you know, blended, especially right here. I feel like there is very little between there. So I feel like some trees might add a little bit more separation, and I think I might try to make these sort of trees all the way over there. Yeah, these trees right here, they're kind of just very nicely shaped, very thin, tall trees with like, they're kind of like trimmed and hedged and everything. And I think that might be kind of a cool look to have over there, but maybe we go with a different palette. Instead of doing birch, we should do azalea. All right, we got our tree palette here. It's actually very simple, nothing too crazy going on here. We're gonna use dark oak fences as our base, and we're gonna use azalea as our main leaf. And just for a little variation, we'll do birch just for like the darker spots in the tree. So maybe like some sort of shadow or whatnot. And then we're gonna use moss slabs here because I'm feeling a little ambitious. I usually don't include any sort of slabs or anything in any of my trees, but I've been seeing people do it recently, and it actually looks pretty good, especially when you add a little bit more distance to the trees. If you're not up close and staring at all the details, if you have just a little bit of distance on them, it really helps add a little bit more shape to the tree. So I'm going to try that out, and maybe we even throw in some mossy walls here. I actually didn't grab any, but I have a few on me. Perfect. All right, let's get cracking on these trees. So I ended up going with a little bit more of a messy style of tree instead of that clean-cut hedged tree that I showed off a bit before. But I'm actually really happy with these trees because I added in a little extra detail with some branches using some fence gates. And then I think the mossy cobble slabs look fan-freaking-tastic. Yeah, see what I mean? I feel like the trees just add a nice little line of separation between these areas here. And also, they're pretty... I like these trees a lot. So as I was saying with the mossy cobblestone slabs there, I feel like you barely even notice them. You have to really kind of look for them, and they just add a little bit of extra like variation on the shape of these trees too, especially in the like these darker spots here. They really blend in with the azalea leaves and kind of the birch leaves too there. I'm a big fan of how this looks, but I feel like a little bit of extra color would be really nice, and I think resin would look awesome on these trees. They kind of make them feel like there's some like fruit on these trees, or fruit bearing trees. Yeah, let's do that. So I used our nether hub to go head over to the Pale Manor that we made quite a while ago, to be honest. I think we should set up some sort of train station over there because I think we should build more in the Pale Garden. It's such a cool area in the Minecraft world. So let me know if you guys have any ideas on what we can add to expand out our Pale Mansion area. But anyways, I sat here, I tried to use our farm, and actually the resin farm I have set up is absolutely terrible. So I need to redesign that thing. And maybe even in the future, we design a proper interior for this Pale Mansion, just because I feel like it would be nicer than having 2 random farms stacked on top of each other in here. All right, we're back at the horse track. Let's add in some resin to this thing finally. That took me so long. That took me 12 minutes just to run back and forth. Oh boy. Oh yeah, look at the color on those things. Oh, that looks so good. Wait, those ones look so good with the little bit of distance on there. You just barely see the orange kind of peeking through the leaves. That looks really nice. Wow. All right, now there's one last thing I want to do, which is actually set up some redstone so we can run around the track and get an accurate timing of how fast our horsies are. So I need to lock into redstone mode, and I don't think I'm going to drag you guys along with me because frankly, I'm going to be winging it and it's going to take me forever to figure it out. So I'd rather just explain the redstone afterwards, and if you want to try to copy it for your own world, I can show it to you and then you can just copy it and do it yourself. All right, let's hop into super duper mega fast redstone mode. Go! Hey, I just want to say real quick, if you've watched this far into the video, consider leaving a like, and if you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed, get frickin' subscribed down there. I really would appreciate it. I had a lot of fun working on this video and trying out a little bit of a different style, so let me know what you guys think about that as well. The redstone is complete. In low-key, I think I popped off with this redstone. Let me explain it to you guys. It's a very simple kind of T flip-flop thing, whatever, and it kind of spams items into here. So if we go into Cheetah Cam, you can see that these pressure plates activate this redstone, which toggle this guy right here, which this is like a T flip-flop, but built into one block. We take the comparator output of that, and we power this piston. We have an observer clock go, and then this redstone right here just powers this dropper right here, which has all of the items that we need to be counting. So this is a full thing of yellow wool. And then it kind of spams it up the elevator here all into this barrel. And then whatever number is here by the time we finish our lap is our speed. And then the only downside is that we have to manually refill this thing. So we have to put all the wool back into there. But there's exactly 9 stacks. So if we're missing any, then we know something went wrong. But let's test it out with good old Mueller right here. Okay, Mueller, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. And then we just do a little lap around the track. Kind of keep it in the middle of the track. Nothing too crazy. And then time. All right, let's see how that worked. Did it work exactly how I wanted it to? 29. I don't know what that number means. Now, is there any stuck in this one here? Or, okay, there's one missing in here. And then that's about it. Oh, I wish there was a way I can get this one through one extra time. Is there like a double pulse thing I can do with this or something? Something funky? Okay, I'm gonna experiment with this a little bit just to make sure I can get the timing all accurate and nothing like kind of lagging behind, because technically it's a 29 in here, but there was 30 with this guy right here in that dropper. I put it all back in and I changed the delay on this guy to be 3 ticks instead. I'm not sure if that will do us any good here, but it should be about 30 again. Uh-oh, now it's raining. Great. And time. All right, come on. Work with me here. 20. Uh-oh. Okay, we got the same time again. Technically, we got 30 once again. Seems like the tick delay here was not the move. What if we just do that? 57? Whoa. That's a way different number than before. All right, no, we take it. We just make sure we count this thing every time we do it. But yeah, 30 is our speed for Mueller. That's our unit of measurement, is yellow wool. All right, now I want to test it with a different horse, and I want to grab one of the horses from the stable over here, and I'll grab one of our speedy guys to see if we get a lower time, and then I'll grab one of our slower guys to see if we get us a lower time, just to make sure there's no like discrepancies or anything crazy. All right, we got our 13.46 guy right here, our green guy, Speedy Gonzalez. I've grabbed him a few times before. He is a fast one, nearly the fastest horse you can get in the game. But let's try him out here on the horse track. Let's see if he gets a faster time than 30. Let's go. And time. That guy, okay, this guy's crazy fast. Let's see. 23, 24. Okay, 24 minus 30, that's 6. 6 difference, so that's 10.5, and this guy is 13.5. So it's like a I don't know the ratio. I'm not gonna bother doing all the math. Okay, I'm feeling like you are already slower than Mueller, but let's try it out. We gotta have a fair and balanced system here. Let's go. And time. Okay, let's see how you fare against Mueller. A 30 and ooh, it's a 31. So ever so slightly slower than good old Mueller here. And let's verify that. So if I look with our fancy mod, we got 10.59 and then we got a 10.3. Okay, so it can measure pretty accurately. That's a 1 wool difference, which could be about 0.2 difference. That makes somewhat some sense. I don't know. Oh, you're still going? Oh, did I activate you on accident? And then what we can also do is take this guy over here and test out the jumping at our flag post here. So can you do a 1.5 jump? I really hope you can. Okay, easy. 2.5. Ugh, yikes. Embarrassing. Maybe we gotta take this donkey out back and keep breeding. But there we have it, guys. Our horse track is complete, and I'm actually very happy with how this turned out. You know, this episode wasn't too crazy. No crazy build this time. I just kind of wanted to work on something a little bit smaller and something that's a little bit more survival friendly too. You know, like you can make this in your own world. You can make your own little derby track and set up some cool redstone to test your timings and everything. And I know there's more accurate ways to do this because there are, you know, margins of error with me. Like I could take the inside lane here and have a faster time technically. But, you know, I'll just kind of stay consistently in the middle lane on the, you know, the darker mud here. And I don't know, I think it's fun. I know people will do like cobwebs and like try to slow down their horse as much as possible. And then they'll do like a similar system to what I have here. And then that gives a little bit more accurate timing, a bit more fair, less deviation, if you will. But I don't really care. I like to have a bit more fun with it and have something a little bit more to show off for it. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to all of the barce pluses on the left side of your screen right now. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to get subscribed. All right, y'all, that's going to do it. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.